next one is an original. I did it last week during our last minute pop-up open mic. But this I consider the debut of it because I was told a story a couple weeks ago when we were having drinks with friends about this little incident that occurred in Boston back in 1919. And I was just engrossed in the story, and the people said, you know what, somebody needs to write a song about this. And of course they all looked at me. So this is just second time I played it, so we're going to give it a try. It's called the Boston Molasses Disaster. It was 19... I told you it was new. It was 1919 in Boston's North End. That was the year that this story begins. January 15th, Bostonians know well, for that is the day that all went to hell. It was just after 12 on that Sunday afternoon, when every ear heard a sudden loud boom, as the temperatures rose from the previous day's cold. The ground began to shake, or so I've been told. Returning from church, some wouldn't live to tell. It was 21 dead and hundreds more fell, picked up and carried by sweet-smelling wave. This is my story of what happened that day. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the weather does change and molasses does flow? Can anyone tell me where the love of God goes? Tell me, does anyone know? The holding tank stood 50 feet off the ground, filled with molasses to be shipped out of town, to be used in the finest booze of the time, when a drink at the pub cost barely a dime. But the change in the temps caused the tank to burst. Rivets were popping as if they were cursed. It was 2 million gallons of hot sticky goo. 13 tons from the tank it did spew. Like a mighty river released from its banks, molasses did flow while giving no thanks. As it escaped and it spilled to the street, those who ran were swept off their feet. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the weather does change and molasses does flow? Can anyone tell me where the love of God goes? Tell me, does anyone know? Tony D'Estasio told of his tale, how he nearly died from the gunk he inhaled. Others weren't so lucky with their lives they did pay, found in the harbor the very next day. It was a dark day in the history of Boston, where the tale is still told in the pubs there quite often. They say it was years before the stench went away. This is my story of what happened that day. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the weather does change and molasses does flow? Can anyone tell me where the love of God goes? Tell me, does anyone know? that was my story of what happened that day.
I mean, come on! That's real fun storytelling right there.